Logan, hey, congratulations and thanks for talking to us about Where the Crawdads Sing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, not a problem. This is one exciting project. A lot of people are anticipating this to come out in really soon, right around the corner, in a couple of weeks here. So tell us what initially attracted you to this project.
Yeah, with some of these projects, we don't necessarily know everything that's going on with them. And I had auditioned for another role within the project, which kind of started to pique my interest a little bit in it. And I started to research and whatnot. And then I was given the opportunity to audition for Jody. And I think I was just kind of, he was the perfect character for me, that everything came together right and everything lined up.
Well, what was the original character that you auditioned for this?
Ooh, that's a great question. It wasn't the sheriff. I think it was the deputy. So yeah, it was one of the other ones. I honestly, our character arcs didn't exactly overlap in terms of the deputy or anything. So I honestly don't even know who was cast in it.
No, that's fine. So talk about this character Jody Clark that you get to play, that just in case for people who have no idea and probably didn't read the book and going to watch it, on screen.
Yeah, definitely. So Jody is the main character, Kaya's brother. Kaya has several siblings, but Jody was the one that Kaya was the closest to growing up. And they just have this extremely close bond, and he was somebody very special to her in her life and upbringing. And through a series of events that takes place, they separate for a portion of time. And I come in as the older version of Jody and have the opportunity to reconnect with my sister. And Jody is he's somebody that really dealt with difficult things in his life, and he has this attitude that is very strong-willed and kind of keep moving forward and everything. So you kind of see that come out during the movie.
Now, is Jody more grounded than Kaya, who's also known as the Marsh Girl in this film?
I think so. He was such a guiding light to her in her younger years. And yeah, he's very much, I'm the oldest of three boys, and he's very much that older brother role where he very much wants to give her advice and help just kind of guide her through life.
Now, before the audition, did you had a chance to read the book by Delia Owens, or you read the book after you got the part?
So with auditions, it's so crazy. The turnaround is so tight in terms of time. So I guess the best summary is I did the Spark Notes version of the book pre-audition. And then, once I actually was offered the part, I did my deep dive and actually, spent a while reading through the book and rereading and whatnot, which was very special. I'll never forget. I was on a beach reading it, which I think it's such a perfect summer beach read. And there is a chapter in the book titled Jody. And it was such a weird thing knowing that whatever I was about to read was going to be very important to what I was going to do when I actually have this part.
Now, of course, the movie isn't out yet, but we don't want you to reveal too many spoilers, but how close is the movie to the book?
I think that people that love the book are going to be very happy with the movie interpretation of and the screenwriting of what this story is. So I think they did a very good job. It's never easy to turn a book into a movie just because you can go into such greater detail as a book. But like I said, I think everyone on this project did a really great job and turned it into a movie.
With the book available, does that make your job easier, or does it make it a little bit harder in terms, because there's already a fan base?
Yeah, I think I think it was something along this line, and it being such a hugely popular book worldwide, I think it makes it harder in this case. I think when there's little stories and books out there that might not have the popularity of this, that I think make it easier, but I think the expectations are very hard. But I think everybody involved knows that. And, there's some big hitters from Sony to Hello Sunshine to Reese and everything else along the line that, made sure this was a very authentic to what the book was.
Now, are you a fan of this type of genre, this mystery genre in its own way?
I am very, this sounds weird, I guess, being an actor, but I'm not the biggest consumer of fiction, actually. I don't know why. I actually do a lot of nonfiction, and it's just, I guess that's kind of what sparks and interests me. So here and there, it's not that I don't. I think that fiction definitely helps create ideas. It definitely does, play into what it is to be an actor, but it's not something that I can say I read every day.
So as an actor, when do you cross over into the fictional world? Just when you get these roles, or when these things are like really good to you?
Yeah, I think, with these roles and stuff, I think that's what's always attracted me to acting is once I sit there and can put myself in the point of view of the character that I'm auditioning, playing, whatever it is, I can really drop into it easily. I'm not really sure why. It's just, I'm lucky in that sense, I guess, that I think that I can sit there and, really kind of go through my checklist of circumstances and relationships and everything. And from there, I feel as though I'm able to gather a decent interpretation and drop into it.
Now, I have to ask this location where the Crawdads Sing production was at, because it's in this fictional town, Barkley Cove, small town, but I understand it was filmed in the swamplands of Louisiana.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of it was shot just outside of New Orleans, and I think it did it justice. I mean, the book, they refer to it as the marsh, but the marsh, the swamp, it's all a very similar thing. And if you ever get the chance to see that area outside of New Orleans, it's so unbelievably unique. You run into these trees and you'll see them in the movie and everything that you're like, that's not real. And your thought process is, you're like, that tree's not real. And they're just these 100-year-old monsters down in there that just, you just feel so small when you're in these worlds. So I think that the choice to shoot it there was genius, really, because it was almost realer than what I imagined when I was reading the book.
I'm gonna throw it out there, and I'm not even sure because there's some kind of map on the framed wall behind you that says NOLA.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you from that region, or just happenstance or it is?
So I am not. My wife is actually from the area. So, I was lucky enough that I actually started visiting New Orleans almost 10 years ago or so now. So it just by chance, it was kind of that weird coincidence that it all came together. So, I am a big fan of New Orleans. I think New Orleans is a very special place. And then, to have this movie take place there too, like I said, was pure coincidence, but I was very happy about it.
So was the production kind of smooth in the marshlands around New Orleans? Because I don't know. Every time I think of New Orleans, I feel like it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's the mosquitoes, maybe the humidity, the heat, or trying to dodge critters. I don't know.
Right. So yeah, the humidity is just crazy in New Orleans. And I remember talking, I swear it was the director, and she made a comment saying something along the lines of, May was normally on record the driest month in Louisiana. Well, of course, last year when we shot this, that of course was not the case. And there was a ton of rain in the area. And they built Kaya and Jody's home within 20 feet of a river that's just outside of New Orleans called the Trinidad River. And it got so much rain that the house actually was at risk of flooding because of how much rain there was. So it was very real in that sense, but also it was probably not the most ideal of situations because there was actually so much water and everything at the time.
That's New Orleans. I actually remember. I just remember, hurricanes and plenty of rain and all this kind of stuff. Never been back since. So,
Yes.
how was it working alongside Daisy? Because I love a lot of projects she does. Somehow, I don't know. It's like her acting just makes her lovable in all senses.
Yeah, and I think, not necessarily every actor, but a lot of actors, some of what you see on screen is what they are in person. And when it comes to Daisy, she was phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. She just was so kind from day one, and it was perfect for me because our characters were siblings, and it was just an ease. It felt that her and I were able to connect over random things that we've experienced in our lives. And, she made me feel welcome from the second I got there. So she really is everything that she seems, which is everything you could ask for.
That sounds great. And for you, how did you get into this acting business in the first place?
Yeah. So in a roundabout way, I started modeling late high school into college and whatnot. And from there, I traveled to New York City for a summer, and that summer ended up becoming 12 years in New York. And, modeling has always been, fairly lucrative for me, which I was extremely lucky, but it just was something that, to be a successful model, it only takes 5-6 days a month to be shooting, and you're making decent money. And I just got to an age and a point where I was like, okay, this is boring. Like, I have so much downtime. Like, what am I going to do with this downtime? And I kind of took some commercial classes, some commercial acting classes. And then I was like, okay, well, what's next from there? And somebody was like, well, try this teacher that I know. And it was a sensory class on the Upper West Side with this teacher named Sheila Gray, and very, very sweet lady. And she walked me through this process of sensory work. And in that first class, within 20 minutes of being in the class, I was sitting there just like bawling my eyes out, sitting in this corner, trying to work through what she worked us through in the class. And I think initially it was almost somewhat therapy, but then you learn how to kind of like harness your emotions and how to like conjure up certain things and how to bring those things out within you and use them within a scene. And I just fell in love with it. And I started doing improv with her, and then, found other coaches and did some comedic improv stuff. And it all just kind of fell in place.
So do you find acting much harder than modeling then?
Absolutely.
Or the other way?
Absolutely. I think, I think that there's a learning curve to both. I mean, I think the nice thing is with modeling is you can be coached by a good photographer because it's still photos. So there's opportunities for actual, verbal communication between the shots and stuff like that. Whereas you are rolling tape. So it's like playing football almost, where it's like the play is going and it can stop at a certain point in time, but when it's going, there's nothing you can really do to change what's taking place. So, I think that there are a lot of connections between the two of them, but I think acting just has something, it's more of that motion that is film that makes it more difficult.
I'm curious, are you still modeling? Do you miss that?
I do it occasionally. I think I won't say no if the right job comes up and whatnot, but it's not pursued to the extent it was before, I guess.
Wow. And as for the acting, your career just getting started, but do you have sort of like a list for yourself of what genres or what characters or people you want to act with?
I've never really, and it's funny, the stuff that I've been able to do recently, I've been able to be on set with some fairly big name actors, and it's been amazing to do. So I don't know if I necessarily look out for specific people and hope to work with specific people. I think it's more that character side of stuff that it kind of drives me and is more interesting. I love the idea of a villain, just because I think most villains don't realize they're villains, which is such a funny thing to me. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, everybody thinks that they're good, or that they're, what they're doing is right. And I think that that would like mentally be a very interesting, like kind of psyche or whatever to play with. So somewhere in there, and I think just as simple as, I would like to do something with a larger character arc. We all want to play and we want to keep doing this. So in doing that, I think just being able to do it for a longer period, whether it's a limited series or something that allows you to live out a character for longer.
Absolutely, and I think you'll make a great villain. You certainly have that look for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to give it a try.
Let's start wrapping things up because I've taken a lot of your time. But could you talk about some of your upcoming projects? I mean, I know you're going to be in an episode. Well, I don't know how many episodes, but of like Blackbird, and some of us are checking that out tonight here in Los Angeles. So.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, Blackbird. It looks. I mean, I haven't seen complete finished product of Blackbird, but what I have been able to see, I'm like, it's almost scary, which is great. I think that's exactly what you want. It's such an intense, limited series and such a crazy, crazy story, especially the fact that it's real. It was so fun to shoot. The character that I played within the story arc was kind of creating the story and backstory to who Taron Egerton's character is in the series. And I also got to play kind of his like douchey high school friends. So like I got to play some guy that never really grew up, which, in person, you don't love the guy, but to be able to play the guy is a blast, because you just, can kind of like throw some stuff out the window and say whatever you want. So it was fun on set to do that. So I'm very excited for that one, because the timing of it's great. It comes out right before Crawdads on the 8th. So I'm excited.
I know you have a couple good projects. And is there anything else up the pipeline now for yourself? A couple movies, I think.
Yeah, so Devotion comes out in October, which is again an amazing story, and another period piece like Crawdads. And I think just visually, Devotion, I remember being on set one day and we were surrounded by almost 100 extras or something like that, but it was all supposed to be in like the French Riviera, and everybody's on the beach in swimsuits, but it was during that period. So it was just weird, because there were so many people that your imagination didn't have to work very hard, because I was like, this is just taking us back to a different world. So it was a lot of fun. So to see that one in full will be great.
I know I was going to say that one stars Glenn Powell, who just came off of a Tom Cruise movie, and that guy's he's hilarious in real life.
I was able to meet Glenn on set, and he's everything that people say as well. He's just a super, super nice guy. So yeah, he was great.
Well, yeah, that's terrific. Well, I know you are your career just beginning, and you have a lot of good projects up the pipeline for yourself. So Logan, hey, thank you very much for speaking to us about all these things, carrying the conversation about Where the Crawdads Sing and Blackbird. I mean, this is just right around the corner for both projects, and I know you are very excited for it. And you know what? You're a genuine nice guy too. So
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me, and it was great to talk to you about all of them.
Hey, thank you. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we get to do this again.
Exactly. I hope so.
All right.
See ya.